what this is. This is a jump rope. So today, with Brent Fikowski, the Professor Project, we're talking about jumping rope. We're talking about single unders, double unders, triple unders, in that order. And I mean, the double under, which is something you see come up a lot in CrossFit general programming, competitions, is the double under. We've never seen triple unders come up that I'm aware of in a main competition. And I don't even think you ever see single unders, but they're all related. It's all basically the same thing, so we're going to go through all of them. And double unders can be super frustrating because unlike pretty much everything else in CrossFit, it's not as much a physical limitation. I think most people can, jump this high, and most people can flick their wrists up and down. It's a timing thing, it's a coordination thing, and so we're going to address that. We're also going to address the physical side as well, and we're going to hopefully get you guys much better at jumping with a rope. So yeah, let's get started. Lots of stuff. And so one thing I'm going to bring up basically every time I talk about something specifically in this video about jumping with a rope, there's going to be two routes on almost every single tip I give you. The one route is the quick and easy route, and that's to get you, some immediate gratification and maybe get you from 5 unbroken double unders to 10, or from 0 to 1, or from 10 to 20. The other route is the long and slow route, doing things right, doing things perfectly. You might not see progress immediately, but in the long term, this is the best thing. So it's up for you to decide. If it was up to me, and I was, coaching you one-on-one, 9 times out of 10, I would say take the right route, do it right, do everything right, slowly but surely build up so you're a wizard at these. But I don't know your goals. Maybe you have a competition next weekend, there's jump rope, you suck, and you just need to find a way to just maximize what you can do right now. Or maybe the open is tomorrow, or there's something you really, really, really need, and you just need it now, you need it now. Then I'm going to kind of show you how to get that immediate reaction, hopefully. But I'm also, more importantly, going to show you how to do everything perfectly so that down the road, long term, you look back 6 months from now, 3 months from now, maybe a year from now, and you're significantly better than if you just sort of taken the shortcuts. But I'm going to give you both. It's going to be super thorough. Let's do it. So first, let's start with single unders. So I'm going to give you both. I'm going to give you, the long route, the perfect route, what I want you to do long term to get really good at this 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road. So you look back and say, wow, I am like significantly better. But I'm also going to give you a couple shortcuts so you can see some immediate results, hopefully, in your jumping if you have like a goal you need to get at right now. So it's going to be super thorough. We're going to go through it all. And first thing to start with is choosing your rope, choosing your weapon. It's not like a barbell where usually you just get the barbell that's in the gym. You oftentimes will buy your own rope or get to choose what rope you want to use. And just some basic positioning things that will transfer to the single, the double, and the triple. So the first thing is the rope. This is the rope I typically use. Very simple rope, very light. The cable is basically just steel, very thin plastic coating. The handles are very light. They spin. And then if you're just starting, though, you want a rope that's a little heavier, both a little heavier in the handle, a little thicker wire. You need to feel the resistance. You need to feel the rope and be able to manipulate it through space. So you're not going to be able to shred through double unders at a crazy fast rate, but in order to learn, if you're struggling, you need a heavier rope. You need that, that resistance. So I'm going to show you what those ropes look like. So you're going to want something a little more like this. This is the, I think, RX Smart Gear. The one I'm using here is Jump N Rope. There's some, some other like RPM ropes and stuff, and a bunch of different companies that sell ropes. But basically, the lighter and the thinner they are, the thinner the cable, the lighter the handles. That's a little more for your, intermediate to advanced. But if you're just starting and you're struggling, don't go for this because you see the pros using it. Go for one of these. You need the weight, you need to feel it, and then you can progressively get lighter. So I'll show you a bit on both, but that's the first step. Next step to go with is how long the rope is. So the standard measurement here is you're going to step in the middle of the rope, feet together, handles up, and they're going to come to about your armpits. Now, this is something to consider. If you're just starting and you really are not super comfortable, what's probably going to happen is your arms are going to start coming out real wide, or like this, or way out in front. So a lot of times when you start, you might want a longer rope. And actually something I'm working on is getting a shorter and shorter rope, because I'm tall as it is. Double unders take me a little longer because the revolution of this total distance to go all the way around in a perfect circle is longer than a shorter athlete who might be down here. So if you see really, really speed jump ropers, they're actually going to have their hands here. They're going to be spinning around really, really low, and the rope is going to be like this high off their head. Right now, when I jump, you'll notice that the rope is quite a bit higher than that off the top of my head. So that's something I'm working on. So for you, this is like we talked about at the beginning of the video. Do you want something that's kind of quick and easy, you know, to get some double unders? Then yeah, you know, put it pretty high, put it even past the armpits so you can get going. Or if you really want to learn properly, I would start with it below the armpits, probably even lower than I have it. So maybe more down here. So it'd be more like this. And get used to jumping nice and low. So you develop the right habits, the right techniques, so long term you're going to be a pro. So there's your first thing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few repetitions with my rope here, and then we're going to talk about positioning and just in general with the single, the double, the triple, how you want your body to look, how you want your hands to be placed, and then we'll go from there. Side. Okay, so kind of start from the bottom up here. Stay light on your feet. Balls of your feet hopping up and down. Shouldn't be slapping the floor. Ideally, you hit the floor and you rebound off. And obviously, as you get higher up from singles, doubles, triples, you're going to need to spend even less time on the ground and even more time in the air. So you want to get used to doing that right away. Next thing. Now this is something that if you want to get your double unders right away, this is probably one of the shortcuts you're going to have to take. But in an ideal situation, your entire body is nice and tall, and you're just bouncing off basically your feet and your calves, a little bit in your upper legs, but it's mostly that. You're almost straight up and down like an arrow, and you're jumping up and down. Now, in order to get your very first double under, you might have to bring your knees to your chest, arch your core, or sometimes people will arch backwards and flick their legs up. I don't want you to do that. If you need to get one double under today, that's probably what it's going to look like. So it'll look something like this, where you're going to do single, 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 and then you're going to do this massive jump and spin your arms as fast as you can and land on your butt. So it'll look like this. Probably what your first double under might have to look like in order for you to just get there. But in an ideal situation, you want to practice with your body nice and tall and just hopping like this. The more you have to arch like this or back, arch your back and flex your hamstrings, it's going to wear you out, and long term you're not going to be getting those big, big unbroken sets. So that's the position you want, nice and tall, relaxed. You're able to breathe like this. You can't breathe when you're constantly doing sit-ups in the air. And then your hands, lower the better. You don't want to bring them out here. You want to keep them low, a little bit in front of you, and it shouldn't be an arm motion. It should just be a flicking of the wrists. If you've ever played drums, you're basically doing that, where you're just flicking your drumsticks and playing the drums. You're not playing your drums like Animal from the Muppets. So just wrists, a little bit up and down, like this. And then what I try to focus on is I try to hear the rope hit the ground about 10 inches in front of my feet. So if I'm jumping here, I should be able to hear the rope hit the ground about 10 inches in front of me. And what that's going to do, I'll bring the camera in tight for this. The rope's going to be like this. It's going to hit the ground about 10 inches in front of me. It'll level out as it flattens. It'll go under my feet, and then it'll lift up again. So that's a pretty good place to start. Obviously, as you get more and more progressive, it won't hit quite as far in front of you. But if the rope is hitting the ground directly under your feet, odds are the sides of your rope, as it spins around right here, are going to hit the sides of your feet. So you need it to be pretty much flat to the ground, and that's how the rope, if you watch some double unders in slow motion, it'll go like this, and it'll flatten out as it hits the ground. So listen to the rope and time your jump off of that. And in an ideal situation, especially if you're doing something like single unders, when you are at the height of your jump, you should hear the rope hit the ground. When you contact the ground, you should have the rope directly above your head. And the two are alternating. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can kind of picture in your head, and a lot of people, what happens is they mistime that, and they'll hear the rope will start hitting the ground closer and closer to when their feet hit, and they won't have that timing. So if you can kind of think of that alternating with the single under, you're hitting the ground, the rope's up here, you're as high in your jump as you can possibly be, and the rope is hitting the ground. And so you're timing that like a bicycle. So I'll show you a few like that, and try and hear that rope if you can. So what you'll notice is the distance, like if that was a metronome, the distance in time between my feet hitting the ground and the rope hitting the ground should be almost identical. So they should be not, that's a mistake. That means that you're not timing that perfectly. Okay, so we've covered a bunch of sort of overarching things that are going to help you with all of the types of jump rope you might encounter. So the first thing you want to learn to do is obviously work on the single under. So you should be able to do anywhere between, ideally at least 50 unbroken, but it'd be nice if you could get to like 100 or 200 single unders before you realistically progress to trying double unders. So try and get to about 50 to 200 unbroken single unders where you can do them in a smooth rhythm. And one of the best pieces of advice I can give is just like basically anything, is film yourself. Set up a camera, film yourself doing double unders, take a look at it. I mean, if you're a male or if you're comfortable, take your shirt off so you can see what your hips are doing. Don't wear baggy clothing. See what your midline's doing. Are you staying nice and hollow? Are you like this? Do you look relaxed? Are your hands coming up? Are they coming out wide? Is the timing good? Do you look relaxed? Are you bouncing off the balls of your feet? All of that. So try and get some nice, relaxed single unders and be very comfortable with that. So I'll show you a few more of those, and then I'll show you what I want you to do for double unders next. Okay, so the double under. Now the rope is passing under your feet twice as you jump up. So in order to achieve this, if you were watching what I did before, it was pretty consistent pace. In order for me to improve that to a double under, one of two things is going to have to happen, or a combination of the two. And that is either the rope must speed up, or the rope would stay the exact same pace, and I would simply jump higher each jump. So what we're going to work on here, probably the most important thing that I notice from people with this step is going to be your ability to put out a more intense jump, a more explosive jump, and then when they do that, it's the ability to repeat that jump immediately again. So the first thing I would do is, before picking up your rope and even trying to do some doubles, is work on jumping higher, hitting the floor, bouncing back up again. So doing a few reps like that, just keeping your hands in a natural position. They're going to move up and down a little bit. So I'm going to show you what a few of those look like. So first, I'll do what a single under jump would look like. Now for a double under jump, you're going to have to jump about twice as high, but still try and stay on the ground for the same amount of time as you were with the single, which isn't a lot of time. Now, I don't have to jump that high for double unders, but when you're first starting, it's likely what you're going to have to jump quite a bit higher. So now that you've got that down, the next one is going to look a little silly, but you're going to jump, and while you're in the air, you're going to clap the sides of your legs twice. Looks a little silly, like some sort of bird. But you're going to go up, and you're going to clap the sides of your waist twice as you're in the air. So that's going to get the rhythm down of jump, rope hits the ground twice. Jump, rope hits the ground twice. And, finding familiarity in that rhythm. So I'm going to try that now. All right, haven't done this one in a while. Okay, so you practice jumping higher. You practice jumping higher with the double clap. Now, what we want to do is progress into the double under. And I mean, what a lot of people do is, okay, I got to learn double unders, and they just sort of desperately try and do as many as they can, and then get frustrated when they don't hit a number that seems acceptable in their head, whether that's 10 or 50 or whatever. And then when they do hit that, they just keep looking forward. So let's kind of break it down into smaller steps here, where perform a few single unders, do a double under. Call it a day. Do a few single unders, do a double under, and then do back into single unders and keep that rhythm. And then do, let's say, 5 singles, 1 double, 5 singles, 1 double, 5 singles, 1 double. Continue that, and then do 4 singles, 1 double, 4 singles, 1 double. Then do 3, 1, 3, 1. Then do 2, 1, 2, 1. By the time you can do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, you're probably pretty close to attempting multiple double unders in a row. So I'll do a bunch of singles and 1 double. This might be what your first attempt looks like. Great. So now we're on to 5 singles, a double, and then back into singles. See? Couldn't quite hold my rhythm. So let's do it again. Okay, that's better. Now we're going to try and do 5-1, 5-1, 5-1. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to, let's say I did 4-1, 4-1, 3-1, 3-1. So now I'm going to do 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Haven't done this one in a while. See how it goes. Might have been 3-1, but anyway, you get the idea. So now that I've done that, there's like pretty good likelihood I can start busting out some doubles. So the best way to start is with 1 or 2 singles and start getting into doubles. Now, if you are at a higher level and you've been watching this and you say, oh my gosh, Brent, like I get it. Give me some hacks. One of the things I've been working on is starting directly with a double under just to save that little bit of extra time. If you guys did, I think it was 16.5, the open workout, you had to pick up that double under rope 10 times, and if you tripped every couple rounds, it was 12. So if you're doing 12 single unders, that could be wasting you 8 seconds over the course of a 5-minute workout, which really matters. So if you're a little more elite, try and pick up your rope and start with a double under. Get used to doing that. It makes a difference if you're wanting to really progress. But when you're first starting, start with a couple singles, warm up, get into the double under. So I'm going to show you some good double unders here at what I would call a moderate pace, something I can hold for a really long period of time. Okay, so notice I stayed pretty relaxed. I wasn't arching. I wasn't bending my knees. And yeah, there was also a rhythm to it. So it was down 1, 2, down 1, 2, down 1, 2, down 1, 2, down 1, 2. And the time between each time the rope hit the ground was about the same. So it wasn't this drastic like bang, bang, and then slow, bang, bang, slow. If you start doing that, the reason you probably have to resort to that is because your feet are staying on the ground too long. So what you need to practice doing is hitting the ground, floating, hitting the ground, floating. And that might take some time. If you're heavy on your feet, you're going to need to work on that, or you're going to have to get really, really comfortable having that modulating your rope speed from going fast for 2 and then slow around and then fast for 2. Something to keep in mind. Ideally, the rope moves at basically the exact same speed. If you're doing 100 double unders, the actual speed of the rope never changes. It just keeps spinning. Your wrists are just constant, and then you're just kind of sneaking in between two of those steps. All right, so that pretty much covers the double under. Really it's about practice. It's about quality practice and not desperately trying to increase, your double unders from 21 to 22 unbroken. It's about thinking about making that 21 even better, so long term you can go to 50. That's the biggest thing. But again, if you have something really short term, you can only do 1 or 2. I've helped someone once, they just struggled with the rhythm. Part of it was how they were jumping, and I said, you know what, just bring your knees up, Every time you jump, bring them up. It's going to be a little bit exhausting. You're not going to be able to get 100 in a row, but rip those knees up every single jump. You're going to get more consistent sets, and then in the long term, start jumping higher, and it made the world of a difference. They were always struggling. They'd do 20 unbroken, and then it was 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 10, 3, 3, 3. They all of a sudden jumped up to mostly sets of 10 and very consistent. And then a month, 2 later, they were still doing sets of 10, but jumping better because they finally found that groove, that rhythm, and it wasn't this need to just like throw their rope at the wall. So now we sort of have this double under thing down, but if you're sort of in this place where you're like, yeah, my jump roping is pretty good, but I want it to like get to the next level, and I do double unders, and they're like good, but they're not great. Like, what do I do to level up? So what I would recommend is, there's a few things. So one, in CrossFit, whatever you love gets taken away. If you love, your special rope, eventually you're going to go to some competition or some gym and you're not going to have it. You're going to have to borrow someone's, or you're going to go to a competition like I did at the games and they gave you a heavy jump rope and I'd never used one before. Or all these different things. They might make you do singles, they might make you do crossovers. So in order to level up with the jump rope, you should have a craving for virtuosity with the jump rope. In the same way with handstands. If you can only walk forward on your hands, if you've been keeping up with CrossFit, now you got to go over obstacles. You have to do handstand push-ups. It won't be long before we're walking backwards and all these different things. So with the double under, I wouldn't focus just on that. I would get very good at singles. I would get good at singles jumping from one leg to the next. I would try some crossovers. I would try jumping, while moving. And even doing some agility ladders. So I'm going to show you a bunch of those skills that you can try to accumulate. It's a lot of fun, and the more comfortable you are with a rope in your hand, and the more comfortable you are with any rope in your hand, grab someone's rope that's a little longer, a little shorter, a little heavier, a little lighter than you're used to. And if you're very good at jumping with a jump rope, you should be competent enough to grab almost any rope and bust out pretty much any skill that's asked of you. And I guarantee if you can do that, then you will very quickly be capable of doing triple unders, which we're going to go over next, and you're going to be that much more comfortable doing double unders when you're fatigued. So I'm going to go through a bunch of different things you can try to sort of have a bit of fun with your jump rope and hopefully help you level up if you're feeling a little stuck in your double under life.